Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dreambeam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's been a while since I just sat down and thought about a recap for where I'm at with eBay right now. Last video I did was in July last year. So right now we are halfway through the current year. The month is almost up. My whole goal or my end game always for eBay is to make sure that I feed the cats and then I feed Anetta and that they're healthy, and then me, I come next. Honestly, that's just the full goal. I say it time and time and again in the channel. So that's still going good, still paying for bills. I still wish there was more money incoming from eBay. It can be kind of annoying with the inconsistency. So this year so far from January, so we're going to say January 1st to right now, which is June, what is it, 20 something? I don't even know what day it is. June something. It's been number wise 10% or 11% worse than last year. And last year was probably our worst year. So we're on track for having once again our worst year in sales. But like I said, bills are being paid, the cats and Anetta's being fed. So that's good right there. I'm just sitting there thinking about it. I generally don't care too much about all the mumbo jumbo of all the numbers because that's not my goal. But yeah, like I said, 10 or 11% less than last year. But here's the important thing. We've had a lot of high highs this year, like days where I'm like, oh wow, if I was just working any other job, that would have taken me weeks to have gotten that money. Not no joke, weeks. We've had some 500, 600, $700 days. I know there's the cost for everything. I do keep track of how much gas and how much we spend and stuff. I would say that our current strength is spending very little on stuff right now. Been really good. Throughout the years, have built some good rapport and relationships with different people. So now that's actually I have kind of access to a little bit too much. I don't say no to stuff right now, but it's been a lot of good stuff coming in, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of vintage stuff. So I have to consider that as a win for this year, where previous years it was always I don't know, it was the few people I had rapport with, are they going to have stuff for me? I'll get personal collections from people I know. I know a couple of storage unit flippers. I have access to all the stuff that they don't care about. A lot of these people also have a lot of stuff right now, which is I would see as a good overall. But now I have to worry about the storage. I have a lot of stuff at home. It's actually not as bad as what it normally is right now. But yeah, I just have to sit down and list it. My problem is I'm getting medium-sized stuff, so it takes a little bit more fidangling in the storage unit to be able to fit it in. But I've been working on it. It's nice to get a lot of the storage unit cleaned out a little bit at a time. It does take a while to get it to where where it is in my mind's eye, just where I want all the storage, how I want it to look like, how I want some aisles to actually be walkable. But I've been making progress on that. So I just got to count all of these weird, they're not number positives. It's just positives in my head, if that makes sense. I also have to think about a lot of people have been giving us free storage, boxes, shipping boxes. So that's a huge plus. That means that our cost for boxes and stuff has gone down significantly. So that's also a huge positive for this year compared to other years. Yeah, just it took me a long time to find a good place to get boxes and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of different grocery stores nearby that they would be throwing this away. There's gas stations and stuff. So getting lucky with that. I'm making sure all the boxes are clean. And I already did a video about our system, and honestly that has saved us at least 2 3 4 maybe 500. It always sounds dramatic, but that actually is if you count it up, some of these boxes, the bigger ones, they could be, I don't know, 60 cents, 80 cents, 90 cents, $2. They're only cheaper if you get big bundles of what 100 or 1,000 or 500, depending on the size. There's always a point where you can save 10 cents per box or something like that. But we don't have to get big boxes as much anymore, or almost ever at this point. So that's been pretty good. That doesn't mean I sit here and think that all of these things that are good are always going to be good and all the things that are bad are going to turn good. It could be I run out of sources tomorrow or next week. You never really know. So I don't take these things for granted. I'm just sitting down right now in the middle of the year, just thinking about what I do have and what I don't have, but they're not guarantees. So there's a lot of stuff that changes in the year. I think about like our first year in eBay all the way like each consecutive year is just there was a lot of hurdles to go through, and then there was a lot of pros and cons to each year. For example, I think it was I want to say sorry, it's been a bit some like when you do this stuff every day, it's really repetitive. You don't really break it down like year by year in your head. It's not easy to like categorize because you're kind of just doing it. That's 365 days of just doing it, and then you just keep doing it. It's not like, oh, okay, my brain has this locked into one year. It's time to move on into the memory of the next year. But I think it was 2021. We had low sources, but I think our sales were like the best, if that makes sense. So the problem at that time was, can we keep this up because we need to get source more stuff. We're having like potentially the worst year worth of sales. But like I said, anything can change. So all the way from July to the end of the year could have a complete turnaround. Only being at like a negative 10% compared to last year, that's not like a huge swing of having a good couple weeks. Honestly, it was at like a negative 20% or something. But this month we had a good 2 weeks. Just it was literally just a good solid 2 weeks of good day after good day of sales. There was like only like one return. It was like a DVD. Getting a lot of good positive feedback. I do try to read everyone's feedback. And that's another thing I'll get to is I'll talk about my goals moving forward for the end of the year. I kind of see the goals as I used to be like a super goal oriented person. I would be like, I want to do this all the time. I want to achieve this. And now I just kind of use goals as kind of like a loose indicator because I feel like when I focus too much on just like a goal that I make up, it's all made up, right? You make up a goal. It's more to like motivate you, but I already have like the motivation. To me, it's honestly just time. Time is my biggest factor. I'm sacrificing sleep on some days just to get like another project done. No joke, but it's not a big deal. I know I can't do that forever, but and then there are a couple days where I crash and sleep in. But yeah, for goals, I'll just jump right into it because I lost my train of thought where I'm talking about. So right now, like I said, I want the storage unit cleaned up a bit. I want to organize a little bit better. So I want that to happen. And then for feedback, oh, that's what I was talking about. I do read all the feedback we get. We get some funny feedback. There was someone the other day, yesterday. I was laughing so hard because they said they said we shipped so fast that they felt like they actually fell asleep and missed a couple of days. They said I actually like made them feel crazy for a moment, and then they had to check the track and just realize that we shipped it real fast. And here's what I think happened with that. So I will wake up for the day. I will then I'll go to the storage unit and grab stuff. And if something sells when I'm at the storage unit, that's getting shipped out within like an hour to 3 hours. And then our post office is actually probably moving that already right after I drop it off because it's like right before they ship out their stuff. They close at 5, I believe. And then they've told me around here that they move all their stuff at 5:30. So like that's probably why some people get it lightning fast. So whenever I read those, like the fact that someone thought that they missed a couple days because our shipping was too fast, that was funny. So I do read them. I do see a lot of people saying that they like all the stuff, that it's like stuff that they've been waiting for to be listed. We do get a lot of like vintage, weird board game bits and pieces. So there are a lot of people waiting out there for, like a specific piece to a board game that they spilled water on. They don't want to spend $200 for like a whole new vintage board game. They just, they need the board for $15. They need the sheets, the rules for 15, $20, something. They might need the miniatures for 60, but they don't need the whole enchilada for like 200 because a lot of these games can sell for a lot. So I like to read all those and it feels good. So I see that as like a positive for where we're at right now in eBay. We have really good feedback. I do read it, most of it, not all of it, because there's a lot, and then there's a lot of like, like the generic ones, like, oh, thank you, good seller and stuff like that. I like to read the unique ones. That was crack me up. There was someone that did like a poem or something the other day, and I didn't understand it. I have to like probably put it into like Google to see where they got it from. It said something like it was like a king we da do da king we da do or something like that. No joke. Funny feedback. People are funny with like their feedback and stuff. All right. I'll have to look that up later. I don't know if it was like some weird poem and that they used as many characters as they could, probably as many as they were allotted. All right, so goals is I definitely want to eBay. I feel like almost no one cares about this, but I always thought it was cool when I was a kid. I think they had some kind of system when you were a kid, or when I was a kid, when eBay first started, some like 20 something years ago, is you'll get like a colored star near your name. I think we have green right now, and I want to get to the shooting star. Shooting star is 10,000 feedback. The only way to get that is to ship out stuff, make sure it ships out on time, it's a good price, and the person's excited about the item. I would say like our feedback rate is like 20%, 17% just in general. So you can't really force too much other than to, like I said, just keep doing what we're doing, keep doing like good items, good prices for people, making them happy. So I definitely want to get to that. Do I think I'll get that this year? I don't know. Considering we don't like feedback is just not given as much, probably not. But at one point that was a fever dream. I'm like, oh, I want the shooting star. I'm never gonna get there. Will I get there? I think I can get there, but that's a long time from now. And now a long time from now is kind of soon actually. So it's kind of crazy to think, but that's why, like I said, I pick a goal and I'm not like hyper focused on it. I'm not like messaging everyone, oh, hey, can you give me feedback? Do you like the item? Do you like it all? And like, no, I'm not gonna go ahead and hound people. I know some people do that, which is not a big deal. That's just not my style of. I like the word of mouth. I like the organic, the natural, like someone just actually sitting down and typing it in like a good feedback. So to me it feels like it has more weight to it, rather than like, I'm sure if we asked every person to leave feedback, we would probably increase their feedback. So if someone wants to do that, I have no issue with it. It's just I don't want to spend the time on that. I want to spend time finding, or I guess organizing more and listing cool items like that. Excuse me. Ooh, just woke up. Got like not like, yeah, I guess I got like teary eyes, but not from being sad, if that makes sense. All right, next thing. All right, next goal. So yeah, there's a couple of cool like yearly auctions I go to. I wish I had like extra money for some of these auctions, because there's a lot of cool stuff, and I have to really be choosy with the auctions. I really have to make sure that I'm able to like flip it. There's a lot of collectors that go to these auctions too, so they're grabbing the things that they want. I can't just be burning a bunch of money. And specifically because I have a lot of people recently that I've built up rapport with have been reaching out to purchase stuff. I don't even know if I should go to the auction, or how much I should spend on it, or the few auctions that I go to. So we'll see how that turns around. But yeah, my goal is kind of to think about that right now. All right, what else? Oh yeah, I also want to like break through our, like, it seems like we have this threshold we've had for as long as I can remember at this point, and the only time this threshold was broken was this month, where it seems like we get like 8 or 10 sales in like short bursts on eBay, and then out of nowhere it's just like pure silence for sometimes like up to 12 hours, 16, 18, and then like a big burst comes in again. I don't know if that's anything we can do. I don't know if that's just the algorithm or how eBay has it set up, but I really like wish we can just break through that threshold, because I think there were like a lot of times when we had like 5, 6,000 items where that was our threshold, was probably around like 8 items sold, and now it seems to go, it's up to like 10. We have a lot of stuff listed. It's not the brag. I've been doing this like 5 days a week, sometimes 6 or 7. I'll do about 40 or so a day. That could be 40 miniatures. That can be a bunch of random stuff. Sometimes it's 30 if it's like board game pieces I got to count. And sometimes it might be like 25 if it's just like a lot of stuff I really don't know about. And sometimes it could be like 70 if it's just like a bunch of, like I said, miniatures are probably easy, right? If I get like Warhammer bits and pieces, I could do almost all of that in one sitting, just because like I'm sitting there and just doing it over and over and over and over again. And yeah, so I just want to get past this threshold. Like I said, June we were like actually on an average of like 14, so it felt like a proper progression where we went from like 8 at some points to 10 to like 14, but now we're back down to like 8 or 10 again. It could just be like people are short on money economically. So I know like groceries are expensive and stuff. Gas can be expensive. Bills are expensive. Like we have bills, we have to pay for it. We've had to trim a lot of our cutting. We basically only get to eat out like once a month, if that. And then we're also like hunting for coupons or deals or special days and stuff. So maybe just less people are purchasing right now. I think right now we are going to have a slower year. It may or may not be better than last year. I don't expect it to be crazy better. If that happens, I'll be super thankful that we'll have a little bit of a backlog for either auctions or for, bills or emergencies. So that's like kind of my expectations, pretty low. Just seeing how things are going. I don't expect this to be our best year, but I do feel like everything we've built up in the shop, all the rapport, all of the feedback we've been getting from various places, I do feel like at some point it's going to reach a bubbling point where I'm going to have a year at some point. It might be next year. It might be at the end of this year. Crazy holiday season, you never know. It might be 2 or 3 years from now, but I do believe at some time we're going to have like the best year of eBay that we'll ever have, if that makes sense. And I am kind of looking forward to that. But like you said, you can't like really force people to buy stuff. Uh, I feel like even if I took everything in our shop and made it as cheap as possible, I don't feel like there's enough people out there, especially for the niche stuff that we're selling, to just be able to on the spot buy a bunch of stuff, if that makes sense. So yeah, we'll see how this whole thing works out. I'm in this eBay for my career. As long as it doesn't go belly up, I'm going to keep doing it. I do like it. I do enjoy it. It is a little crazy. I feel crazy, but in like a good way. The crazier I've felt about eBay, the more it feels like the more it comes together, if that makes sense in my head, or like, like the other than like this year, it'll be like, oh, the more sales comes in or more people selling meat stuff and then cheaper stuff because they want to get rid of it. And now I figured out some of the ropes and there's still a lot to learn about this eBay. There's a lot of stuff to sell. I think that's the coolest thing I think about is there's just like a ton of different things to sell. Like I'm not even a master at this niche I'm in, not even close. I know I realized I was good at knowing a little bit about a lot. Jack of all trades of the nerd stuff. Cause like there's a lot of, let's just say, I'm not saying nerds in a bad way. I'm a nerd, so I like playing board games and video games. Not into RPGs. I'm not against it. I've only played a couple. I just don't want to be the dungeon master. Yeah, I'll do like puzzles. I like puzzle games, like escape room games. Those are a lot of fun. Those are hard but fun. Yeah, there's a lot of. All right. So where was I? Lost track thinking about stuff. Yeah, I lost track. I lost track, guys. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it was. There's like a lot of different categories. You can go super deep on a lot of these. I've expanded my knowledge on the nerdy stuff. I've expanded, I would say, the little bit of my wargaming knowledge of like the miniatures. I'm like 10% better, but I'm better than probably like someone who knows nothing at this point, just because we've sold thousands and thousands of dollars of these metal miniatures. The reason why I don't know as much about them is I haven't played any of the games associated with them, and I haven't been around in person around people that have played these games. So like when I'm selling like HeroClix stuff, I played HeroClix for 2 years. I have a person on speed dial that has played the game his whole life. So if I ever wanted like if I wanted to be like, hey, so and so, what are people into right now? They might come back and be like, oh, people are into the X-Men right now. They like the old Lord of the Rings figures. They're like, I have access to like basically a knowledge base, like a huge knowledge bank that's not available online because this person's been doing it their whole life and stuff like that. I know another person that's into Warhammer, but older Warhammer stuff, so they're not as super knowledgeable about the stuff. But I've been selling this stuff from the auction, so I'm starting to pick it up a little bit of the stuff, and I know a lot about the board games, but I don't know much about the vintage board games. But I guess a lot of the games at this point, because I'm old enough, are vintage to where they feel recent to me in a weird way. So like when I see like Descent, Journeys in the Dark, or I'll see like Agricola, these are all games that are modern in my head, but I have to sit back and realize some of these are made like 15 years ago. So just because I've played them a couple hundred times or 50 times or something doesn't mean that they're recent. They're just recent in my head. So board games I'm pretty good on, but not the super vintage ones. I've gained a lot of knowledge by buying a lot of these bits and pieces, by listing a lot of stuff. I've learned about like the 60s board games are really, really good. Not always, but I learned that there are a lot of them are like unique. I think the board game industry just in general is still in a cheap place, and I feel like if a board gamer would watch that, they would probably be screaming at me right now. It would be very controversial statements, but I think about, let's go to trading cards. You could spend like $500 or 400, no joke, on different trading cards. Sports, I think, is even crazier. I'm not aware about any of the sports prices. I just know that there's probably thousands of dollars of booster boxes where someone opens up just a couple packs, and they do spend thousands of dollars on that, and then they sell the single individual players for a lot of money. Same thing with Pokemon. Same thing with Magic the Gathering. And I think about, because I played Magic for what, like 5, 6, 10 years at least total worth throughout my life. I would play it for a year or two, then quit because I would have college, and then play another year or two. And then it's like, okay, well, I just don't have time for it right now, or I don't have the money. It's an expensive game in general, like Magic and stuff. You have to spend, I know it's debatable, probably like $500 or more. You end up spending more. You can do it on a budget if you want. But then I think about, I was like, if I got some of the most sought after and well played board games, and I had $500, I can get a deck of Magic, or I can get like 10 to 50 board games that would give me like thousands and thousands of hours of, and I wouldn't be able to store them. Like a lot of this shelf, let me just think, let's see right behind me. I'm just going to do some like random numbers in my head about like how much this stuff cost. That I think was like 20. That's 20, so that's 40. That was 80, so 120. That was like 25 back in the day, so it's like 200, 250. So yeah, almost this whole shelf. Like I don't know what the prices land at now. I'm just thinking about what I got them for on sale or thrift or trading or sometimes free. It's probably like $500 or so. Just like a quick glance. That's crazy to me. I've played a lot of these games, so I think the board game industry is not quite up to par in a good way for me on like the collector level that it could be. So I think there's still room for growth just for the whole board game industry, which is why I'm picking up all this stuff and I'm selling a lot of these pieces, and they are selling. People are playing them. People are realizing, oh, I can go spend, like I said, a couple $100s on something, or I can go spend $20 on a board game that may or may not give them 50 plus hours of entertainment. There's a lot of like solo rules. There's a lot of expansions you can get for these games. There's a lot of player made rules. I don't have it behind me, but the World of Warcraft board game, there's like someone made a solo rule set that I played. There was like a couple weekends where I played someone else's just rule sets. So it's a really cool industry. There's a lot to know about a lot of this stuff, even when you're in it. So tie it back to eBay. There's just a lot of stuff to be like listing, to keeping an eye out for, to explore and have fun with. It feels endless. It feels like in a good way that there will be no shortage of at least potential knowledge to seek to sell the stuff on eBay, and I like that. I like the never ending type of thing. I originally was going to go through. I have like I will eventually do it one time. I just kind of got lazy. I went to the shipping closet. It's kind of like in the bottom of all my boxes in the corner, so I have to move a lot of stuff. But my brother's been asking me to show him some of the stuff that we've like collected. It'll be like more. I haven't gone into it in a long time. It's gonna be like magic packs, maybe Pokemon pack. I don't think it has Pokemon packs. It has some other cool stuff. I'll save that video for another day. I just sat here and went like, oh, I haven't actually like sat back and thought about this year. I'm like, wow, it's almost July. Like the time goes super fast, especially when you're doing something like eBay where it's just kind of repetitive over and over again. The days just really, they just melt away, just melt, whew, gone. So yeah, I thought it'd be cool to do a little recap. Let me see what else I wanted to talk about. Oh, that's another thing. Like when you're doing this with someone, like I do this with Netta, I always ask her like every month or two, like, hey, are you enjoying how things are going? What do you want? Are you okay with this? Our lifestyle is a little nuts. Are you okay with that? She's good with all of it. Obviously, she would want this year to have more consistent sales, but she also kind of believes what I believe, where maybe people are just economically hurting right now, and at some point it will be better. But yeah, she definitely deals with all the offers and all the shipping and making sure it's correct. Same thing as I do. So we've just been trying to stay on top of everything that you can control and not stress about the stuff that you can't. That's not to say that I haven't had like days this year where I was like super, I guess like stressed or bummed out, because like when you have a couple of really low days, I go like, oh wow, well if we keep having these low sales days like two like this, like that's belly up, that's belly up. But I try not to get in my head in those days, and I kind of have to realize that there are, like I said, ups and downs, and then the downs make the ups feel good. There's been some crazy ups, there's been some crazy lows this year. I think there's, if you go back in the channel, there's gonna be, sorry, I'm like leaning, there's going to be a couple of videos where I said this is our worst day of sales we've had in years. That was not dramatic, that was true. And then we did that title like 4 or 5 times this year. There were like a lot of our low sales days this year were worse than our part-time with like 100 items, no joke. So like that should give you guys an idea about like how that's when we were learning the ropes, just listing anything, honestly, a lot of home good stuff too, not like a niche down. So that just shows you how like crazy and consistent this year has been for us, or at least in my head, at least how I'm verbally explaining it to you guys. And then there's definitely been some days where I'm like, oh, like I said earlier, wow, I can't believe we sold that much in a day. That would have, any of our previous jobs in NRI, that would have taken weeks to get. And that's just crazy to get in one day. I also like how, real quick, about how eBay, it's on 7 days a week. So you can work on it 7 days if you want. Go for it. I've thought about doing it. Sometimes I have, but I haven't done like a full month. I want to do like a full month where I just list and work and do something on eBay the whole month. I mean, we kind of already do. The weekend is more where we just like relax, but there's still like messages you have to deal with, any offers you have to deal with. We have offers on, so I guess if you don't have offers, you don't have to deal with it. But I feel like there's always stuff you technically have to deal with, organizing, talking to people about getting like the shipping boxes, or organizing, or little stuff. Even if it's like takes 2 minutes, there's still technically something to do every day. You're always on. But yeah, I lost my point. That's my point again. All right. Oh, I'm still sleepy. I need my coffee. I need my coffee. My cats are looking out the window. They're enjoying the just the birdies. We have chipmunks around here, bunnies sometimes. One of my cats, I swear, every time there's like an actual, what I think would be an interesting animal for her to observe from the window, I'll try to like point at it, and then she looks at my hand like, oh, what are you doing with your hand? And I'll be like trying to point around, like, no, down there, and then she's like following my hand, and then she's like avoiding looking at the actual thing that I think she would enjoy looking at. So she has yet to see like a chipmunk or a bunny or something. The other cat always sees them. She gets excited. She'll start like making noises. She'll start like almost like mocking like a bird. She'll be like talking to them. It's like, yeah, I know, I see it. I see it. It's fun. It's a cute little birdie or a cute little chipmunk. What was I talking about? I lost track. I completely lost my train of thoughts, but I think that's time to cut it here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone's having a good weekend so far. And then we will have our What Sold tomorrow. If you'd like to help support us, take a look and purchase something from our shop down below. Have a good one.